Be advised, mature content ahead. This podcast is brought to you ad-free thanks to the Legion of Demons at patreon.com/NOTLP. If you like what you hear, there's much more at patreon.com/NOTLP. Join the Legion. That's patreon.com/NOTLP. And now the show.
How do you do? Just a word of friendly warning. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
We're doing Cream Kings.
Hell yeah.
Cream Kings.
Cream Kings.
Come on now.
Scream Kings.
Let's be respectful
Cream Kings.
of our Cream Kings.
So are we doing this because of the coronation, or is it just a coincidence?
It's because we wanted to do this movie, and we tried to figure out a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, Richard Quinn month seems like a lot.
Terrio Quinn.
Who's
Who
Richard
the fuck
Quinn?
is Richard Quinn?
Richard Quinn does seem like a bit much for a month.
Yeah.
I mean,
Terry O'Quinn seems... Is it O'Quinn or Quinn?
Terry O'Quinn.
Terry O'Quinn month seems like a lot.
Yeah.
So we just said, let's just do actors that are known for being in horror movies.
Yeah.
Well, I could have easily have watched 3 Terry O'Quinn movies. I love him.
Richard O'Quinn?
You start with
You mean Richard Quinn?
the movie we're watching today, Pin.
Which I'd never heard
with
of.
Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah.
Terry O'Quinn. I'd never heard of it either.
Is this like a famous movie?
Happy birthday, Patrick Walsh from Scream
Oh yeah, happy
Queens.
birthday, Patrick! What an ironic twist
From Scream.
because he recommended it to all of us separately. Well,
Yeah.
you got the show and then us.
It was the very first movie I think that Patrick recommended to me when we first became friends. I think was Penn, and I watched it and I loved it, and I still love it. So much fun. Feels so made for TV in parts.
Well, the director,
Yeah,
I
it
believe,
does.
was a TV movie dude.
And then there'd be boobs, and you're like, oh,
But I was going to say, but don't forget, if you're doing a Terry O'Quinn retrospective, if you're watching his films for an evening, throw Fight the Future in there, the X-Files Fight the Future, because he was definitely in it. In the beginning, he gets exploded.
Exploded.
He gets
Stepfather.
Yeah, but he was in the X-Files Fight the Future.
Yeah, Castle Rock.
Anyway, we're talking about Pin.
Yeah. Penn, starring O'Quinn. Commentary.
Do we have to only do movies that rhyme with the Scream King's name?
You know,
Are we going to make it that difficult? I don't want to.
no. That's way too difficult. Roulette. Kelley had the movie this week. It's Unhuman.
It is Unhuman.
And Origins, we just finished recording the intro for that. Andy was kind enough to go back and scrub that for bad behavior and tag it and bag it. Some of this goes in the trash.
And we release it out in nature after we tag and bag it.
Yeah.
Back then, 2011, it was Gay Pride Month. We were watching Serial Mom.
Blast of a movie.
If you're a John Waters fan.
Yeah.
Interesting that if we did Gay Pride Month, that this year would probably be boycotted and flagged as dangerous.
Oh, I want it to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in Florida.
That's my middle name, you know.
We'll be banned.
Dangerous.
Meetup's fun. We had a good old time.
So yeah, Origins, we schedule weekly meetups. All that stuff happens via patreon.com/NOTLP.
Thank you, guys.
Topicana.
Topicana, Topicana.
Do you know what your question's going to be, Andy?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And you know that.
Every week we
very
record
unprepared.
this bonus show, Topicana, which is just us answering stupid questions mostly.
The
but it's
topic.
fun. You get a lot. You get a lot for your money there at Patreon.
You get a lot.
Ooh, stickers have been going out.
Yeah, people.
You
get
get a lot.
stickers.
You get a lot.
And you keep this show running, which means the world to us. You know.
You keep me able to buy birdseed because I got a whole world happening in my backyard. It's dramatic.
Is birdseed expensive?
We
The
buy
way they
the
eat
economy
it?
brand,
Is
but
it-
yeah, we go
Oh,
through.
is there premium birdseed?
There are like it's more like fancier nuts.
Does
basically.
Does it attract different
Fancier
birds?
nuts.
Like
Some people say. I have a neighbor that claims
like
that
a higher class of bird.
she gets more cardinals because she puts out, well, I can't even remember what it was, some sort of seed. But no, we go through a couple of pounds of bird seed a week, maybe.
Whoa.
It's insane.
It's a lot. It's a lot of bird seed.
But they say like when you eat like a bird, you're not eating very much. But it sounds like these
that's
birds
a misnomer. It's
are
actually
eating
the
a lot.
opposite.
Well, there's a lot of birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you eat a bird,
Take a bird.
not a lot. They're very small for the most part.
Yeah.
They are.
Take a bird, eat a bird.
Our babies left the nest today. They went
Aw.
from nestlings to fledglings, but there was
They graduated.
there was a hiccup.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
Nugget.
Nugget. We named the last one who's stuck behind Nugget. And he was
He
just
spent
chilling.
hours chilling on like a little like shepherd's hook plant hook we got out there.
Did you name him after the fact that Elsa almost made him a chicken nugget?
Yeah,
No.
that's what I was thinking, actually.
Is that what?
I thought it'd be easier to swallow if he got swallowed. You know what I mean?
So
if he
he's
was named
chilling
Nugget.
on this fucking hook for hours at dog mouth height.
Just shitting.
And Elsa is ignoring him. She doesn't care. I keep looking at him with the binoculars, checking in on him. And I'm like, is this dude going to move? Or do I have to like rehabilitate this bird and then it imprints on me? And then I got to make a video for the dodo. Be like, this woman saved this bird. And I just don't want to deal with content. Okay.
You don't want to have to deal with the content.
I don't want to deal with
Yeah.
making content.
Get it?
Is that the only reason you don't save animals?
Yes.
Yeah, because she feels obligated that she'd have to start a social media presence if she has rescued an animal. Because that's what everybody does.
That's what you do. You started an Insta for the animal.
And then you gotta get in a tiny house. Then you gotta build a car and do van life. It's a lot. It's a lot of steps.
And it's a slippery slope. But so Nugget's out there all day. We go outside. He's nowhere. I don't know where Nugget went. But Elsa knows because she's chasing him and trying to eat him. And he's
just
running,
flapping and running.
across the yard. And
Which is what you're supposed to do, as I understand it, when you are a bird and you're trying to fly.
Yeah.
Is run and flap.
he was getting a little bit of air.
He got a little bit.
And then she I screamed at her. I was like, Elsa, no. And she stopped. And then he ran over against the retaining wall. And then she went, oh, now. And then lunged at him. I had to spank my dog
She smacked Elsa's bottom
to
and
make her stop trying to
Elsa-
eat Nugget.
looked at her, went inside.
Elsa is afraid of me right now.
It was cute though. The whole thing was kind of adorable. I'm glad that both Elsa and the birdie are fine.
You did a good son. You let you dropped Elsa.
Yeah, she gave her a hard smack on the bottom.
I don't know where Nugget is now, though, and that's kind of driving
Nugget
me nuts.
was back at the corner of our fence in the back, just jumping.
But
trying
it's a
to
6-foot
fly.
fence, and this little dork isn't going to make it.
He got a foot. He got a foot of air time. I think a foot of air. I mean,
There's other places he could go up on my chairs that are by the fence and graduate. This little motherfucker's going to get himself killed.
but he.
And I love him.
One of the parents was at the top of the fence encouraging him.
All right.
It was wild to watch. It was really fun.
I could do it all
See
day.
this whole story play out. Love it.
There's a storm coming, and I want them all to be safe.
Yeah, storms are coming.
There's a writer's strike. I hope they, have a plan.
I hope they have entertainment. Yeah, those birds.
Oh,
What are they going to watch?
Yeah.
They're gonna watch
Bird TV has ceased production because it's all live. Because they can't store memory.
How about? Do you think they listen to Hate Beak?
I hope so. They should. If they don't,
That was from the Music League. Hate Beak. That is friggin' hilarious. They have a parrot that has a metal band. I think it was Dustin submitted it.
yeah,
Is it actual a parrot?
I think it's really a
yeah.
parrot.
It's an African gray parrot, and they
have a
record
whole
with it.
album?
They don't tour because they don't want to stress the bird, but it's their vocalist. It's the first bird fronted metal band in history, as far as I'm aware.
Just metal bands had.
Did you say South African?
No, the
Bird.
parrot is an African gray parrot.
But where's the band from?
When you said the first bird-fronted metal band, that
America, I
suggests that
think.
there's other bands that are fronted by birds that aren't metal.
Well, do we know? There might be. I saw a band in Florida at the Enchanted Tiki Room that was pretty good. It was all birds. Well, some totem
They
poles.
spoke too.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That was crazy.
Music League's fun. You hear stuff you
Indeed.
never probably would find on your own too.
It's another thing we do with the patrons on the Discord and the thingamabobber there.
Oh, what else we did? We played Dead by Daylight. Is that right? Is that the name of it? I never can remember.
Dead by Daylight.
Have you played this before, Kelley?
No.
It is so much fun. It's 4 versus 1. It's a video game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horror. Do you know the premise? Like, okay, you have 4 survivors. It's been out for years. I'm talking about like
We're
it's
just
new.
finding it.
But we're just starting to play it as a group. You know, it's fun. You're 4 survivors in a scary location. You know, and one person is the slasher character, and the survivors have to power all the generators and get the exit open before they're all killed.
So it's kind of like One of Us or Among Us or whatever that is.
It's more action oriented than that. It's not
Remember
like
the Buffy board game, Kelley? Did you ever play that?
Yeah.
It's
We
like
played-
that.
yeah,
It's like that.
totally.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that game. That was fun.
I had the pleasure of hoisting my husband onto a meat hook 3 times to kill him.
Yep,
And it was fun.
it was
Yeah,
fun.
we played with our friend Bill. Hi, Bill.
I'm out.
Yeah,
Hi, Bill.
and Esther was supposed to play with us, but she got called away. She's a busy woman. Mm-hmm. But so we were 3v1.
Yeah,
But
you should.
It was fun.
If you ever play with me, you should hope that I'm the killer because I'm very bad at this game. and you will win in a cakewalk.
so we that's on. I know that's cross-platform so anybody out there who wants to try to play along, who's on our Discord, it's on all the systems.
Or you can email Freddie at notlp.com if you want to get a game
Get a
going.
game going. Just go to the video games thread on Discord if you're
If
a
you're a
patron.
patron.
If not,
you're not.
shoot me an email. I like playing games.
Games?
He's a real
I
game
like
boy.
jokes.
You got jokes?
I love jokes. So, anything else for the top of the show?
Yeah, what else is going on in the world? It touched on the writer's strike. It's interesting. It's interesting to distract yourself from the multiple mass shootings that have happened. What you're going to do is just type writer's strike into Google just to feed your need
Really?
for some news.
WGA.
Yeah.
Just put WG. You'll probably get a good couple pages worth of hits on that.
I saw a funny picture. It was the picket line, and the guy was just carrying a blank sign.
Yeah.
You get it?
That's brilliant.
Good for him.
You know, we just started watching Jury Duty with James Marsden. Watched the first episode. Big recommend if you like awkward comedy shows.
Joe Schmo show.
It's Joe Schmo is basically what it is, but with a higher caliber
I was like,
of
it
cast.
feels like saying that is a spoiler, but I'm sure it's in the trailer. I
It is.
I
It's
don't know.
one guy who is a real man, who's a real person.
He's a real man.
He's a real man.
who gets jury duty, but everyone else involved is an actor, and everything. It's true, like Truman Show, and it's very funny.
It's like the Joe Schmo show.
Really fucking funny.
Wasn't Kristen Wiig on the Joe Schmo show? Or somebody famous was one of the actors.
Oh, and then was famous later.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I thought it was Kristen Wiig, but who the hell
It
knows?
feels like it has to have some DNA in common with Joe Schmo. Jury duty. I mean, it's on Freevee, which means anyone can watch it for Freevee.
Yes, Kristen Wiig was on the Joe Schmo show.
Ooh, I think I might look that up to see where she got her start at.
Freddie and I used to watch that show. That was like our jam.
What is going on here?
It was like part of our week
yeah.
plans.
It warmed your heart.
Oh, it's Wednesday night or whatever it was. Let's watch Joe Schmo. It did warm your heart. He was a sweet doofus.
Yep.
That poor schmo.
Is the jury duty
Or that
guy-
lucky schmo.
Is the jury duty guy a nice guy?
So far, he seems like a
He
nice
seems
guy. He's a
fine.
very average dude.
He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Is it mostly like reactions from him, like what's going on?
Well, no, he also like they'll make him
Just
feel
watch it. It's
awkward.
okay.
They'll put him in situations just by the way he'll be caught in the crossfire between two characters. It's really great. You should watch it. It's
Caught in the crossfire.
so quick witted.
It's not mean, is it?
No.
it's the
'cause
opposite
that's
of
the
that.
only thing that's
Yeah, I
holding me back
wouldn't
from
watch
watching it.
It's not mean.
They're like, I'm afraid they're making fun of him.
No. He's like the hero of the show, I think, is the idea.
Speaking of mean, the news today about Kim Zolciak.
I saw the news today. Oh boy.
That's another good distraction if you don't want to read about all the mass shootings. Real Housewives divorce news. Just these ladies in Atlanta are going through it in their love lives.
Is it bad, or is it just drama bad?
Kim and her doofus husband, they're both doofuses, I think, owe $1 million to the government for unpaid taxes.
Well, that sounds about right for the Real Housewives
and
franchise.
they had their house foreclosed and auctioned off.
Doesn't that just seem like you've heard that
I just
so
want
many
to talk
times?
about these dumb bitches. Do not get, well, Kim is a whole, I could go on
But
for
here's
3
the thing:
years.
that Giudice girl went to prison for tax fraud, and she's still on the damn show. It's like, where are we rewarding this behavior now?
Well, yeah, they just they're facilitating. That's what you expect out of a Real Housewife now, I think, is for them to be a fraudster. Like, I don't trust any of them on site.
Yeah.
If somebody's like, I'm a Real Housewife cast member, I'm like, all right, I know that I put you in column shyster / grifter.
Shyster Grifter?
Fraudster is my favorite early social media platform.
Bunko.
That's for people who remember what Friendster is, which is no one. It's a deep cut joke, and if you know it, you know it.
I don't think I've ever been to Friendster. I don't think I
definitely never have.
I didn't have I missed that one entirely.
Yep.
I feel
Me
like
too, but I know what it is.
Yeah,
It kind of exploded on the launch pad.
It feels like it did.
What was Friendster again? Was that
It was
like
a social media.
Was that my like?
It was like a shitty MySpace.
MySpace.
It was like no features. I think it was like, here's a list of people I know.
I don't know. I have no idea. I was listening.
Plus, it's so long ago, I won't remember it. I'd barely remember MySpace.
I was listening to a podcast recently. It was that ICYMI that I like to listen to. And they were talking, somebody was like younger than me saying, can we just have MySpace back? And I'm like, yes.
MySpace is a much better option.
Still there.
Oh, I know, but no one uses it.
No one uses
it. If you want to convince everyone that you know,
I want it to look
to
like
start
it
MySpace,
did.
profiles.
I want Tom back.
I just like,
Otherwise, you won't know anyone.
I like Discord of all those options. It's the only one that I really feel like I go there and I feel better when I leave.
And you
I definitely agree.
You
It's
can't
the
rank
best.
your friends on there.
Old high school people don't just pop up on Discord.
There's no. Remember, you had to mute your computer before you started MySpace. Otherwise, the opening song of
the autoplay song that you just
you chose
were assaulted by.
What was it?
Like you could choose.
It was whatever someone chose. I had songs all the time.
Autoplay on their profile.
And
Now I'm with
picking
you.
that
I forgot about
song
that.
was so important because you're like, this is my calling card to the world.
My dangaling.
I had Goldfrapp on mine for a good long time.
Yeah.
And it could also tell you kind of mood you're in if you change your song.
And
It's like, ooh, she mad at somebody.
super emo or something. They're like, oh.
Having to go to Photo Bucket to dress up your page, and then years later at work, you discover your old MySpace Photo Bucket, and you go to it, and it gives you a virus at work that wipes out your whole work's G drive, and they have to recover everything, and it was your computer.
That's so relatable.
Yeah, remember that, guys?
Coming. What the hell, man?
I didn't mean to.
Who did you fuck over? You don't have to
No,
say.
it just get.
I mean,
well,
what
no, I didn't
company?
fuck anybody over. Oh, it was Frame USA. They know.
Oh, they know.
They know. Well, no one there remembers that or cares anymore. But, but yeah, that
You
happened.
explain like, no, you don't understand. I was just looking at my old MySpace page, listening to Goldfrapp.
I couldn't even listen to Goldfrapp. It was just my photos that I used Photo Bucket to upload. There wasn't even music. It was like, oh, look at these pictures that I remember having and probably still have somewhere. But look, here they are on Photo Bucket.
Oh, a virus.
What did I just click on? What did that say? Did I just hit OK? I don't even know what it said. I just hit OK. Something popped up. I was like, okay, wait, what?
So you're curious about those grainy ass photos from the digital camera age?
Oh, from your old digital camera where you had to come home and like dock it
You had to upload all your pictures.
or take the SD card out.
You had to get your SD card.
Yeah, baby. Thinking about them early 2000s.
You guys remember when we used to develop paper photos and you'd go get the roll and you'd open it up and they'd all be shitty and they'd go right in the trash?
Yes.
You'd take all these pictures from the weekend. And you're like, this is a great weekend. And then you'd bought the fucking film. You
got-
pay for the film.
Got the disposable camera.
Or the disposable camera, and you take it to the photomat. They charge you to develop them.
Those are expensive back then. They weren't like
Yeah.
15 cents like nowadays, like Walgreens.
And you wait 4 days or whatever it was, and you're back.
At
to
least
them.
sometimes 2
Yeah,
weeks.
depending on if it was the holidays longer. And you go to get them, and you open them up, and you're like, I look like an asshole in every single one of these pictures. And they go right in the trash in the same store that developed them.
Oh, I still kept mine. I know what you're talking about, but like I couldn't. Once I developed them, I had to like pretend or figure out,
They had value.
like or begrudgingly like, I hate this picture of me. I hate this picture of my friends. But I'm gonna put it in
But it's
this
all I
little
got.
envelope and keep it.
Yeah, because isn't it? You think about that, like, yeah, I did
that
that
was-
too, though. I did both of those things.
We all did.
That was a super red eye era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everybody had red eyes.
It didn't have the color correction back then on the
about-
cameras, so everybody had red eyes. It was like you're hanging out with a bunch of raccoons or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I
Like
was, too.
we all, I will, and you all have probably inherited a shit ton of photos from your family, from your parents. Like photo albums, just like a bunch of photos. My mom has like a tub full, like a huge ass Rubbermaid.
We were just going through
and we were
photos that
going
given
through
to
some
us.
old photos
Yeah.
yesterday, and I was thinking to myself, are we the last generation that get this?
Like photo albums.
Like how do
physical
you
photos?
as a member of this generation right now, and you've got kids, and when you die, do they get your phone so they can download all your shit? Like, where are all your pictures
On the cloud.
Well,
They get
sir,
your
I mean,
cloud.
the kids of our generation will get them. Like Colin and Cole know photo albums, but they will probably, I mean, family photo albums will probably be passed along for a little while, but I don't think anyone after our generation has any, I can't say has any, but I think by and large, that is a thing that is just like, what?
Yeah. It's-
So unless you have every photo of yourself as a child on that your parents would have forwarded them to you in some manner digitally, you've lost your entire childhood.
well,
These
yeah.
future generations, you're going to have to start thinking about how you're going to maintain your digital stuff.
I think a lot of it's
for
done on
your-
ancestry sites now. People with part of it is hosting their family photos.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I also think that photos don't mean the same thing that they used to, because
True.
I've also uploaded them all to your social media sites at this point. So you're never going to be like, I wish I had a picture. I have pictures that are lost now that I am bereft over because they're just gone. But that's because there were only like 9 pictures that were taken of me as a child. So
Right.
I think today everybody's like, I took 50 selfies at between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. And it just doesn't mean the same thing, I don't think. Because you don't have to go through anything to get them, to preserve those memories. It's a daily thing instead of
Right.
like on special occasions or because your parents like taking photos.
But that's because the kids can't ever fathom a day when those people won't be there yet. And so if you fathom the day that your parents aren't around anymore and you like your parents, then you're going to want to
or even if you don't like your parents.
archive your shit now.
and you just want to be able to be like, this asshole.
If you fathom it, you can buy Dropbox Premium if you want business. I mean, I can't because not because I didn't want to, but because the site's wonky. But if you can get it to work,
Then you do
you can
that.
you can store it on Dropbox.
That's not an ad. That's just Kelley being very specifically
It's because I'm mad at Dropbox.
because you can't get in.
No, I'm in my Dropbox, but I'm not going to go into the whole story, but I'm going to go into a little bit of it. In that I wanted to upgrade to Dropbox Business to get 5 TB
Yeah.
of space to upgrade from my 2 TB. And it was this whole ordeal. And then I was like, all right, fuck this. Because like you had like, and then, so I was like, I'll just do Dropbox Premium, which is 3 TB. I was like, that's fine. But then because I guess I am going to tell the whole story because I set it up on it doesn't. I set it up on my phone, and so it was a version that doesn't exist, and so I would have to like cancel or like go through this whole system with my original one and like re-sign up. It was a nightmare, so I just bought extra space on iCloud.
I can't believe that that's the experience they want their customers to have.
And I'm not the only one who went through it.
Wow.
I Googled it.
Oh, he Googled.
Well, Amy, you talk about like possibly losing your pictures being erased. I think with AI technology now, you can just say, put me in Disney World. And
Yeah.
with my grandma that I never met.
But then you come out kind of monstrous looking. Yeah. It'd be like the grandma you never met, but
I don't
But she's
want
got
that.
like a giant
But you
hand or
guys are the
something.
fly now. Like you're mushed together.
yeah, her fingers as long as legs.
Remember that time with the Disney World fused together? That was awesome.
Yes. It was uncomfortable,
Oh God.
especially when we had to shit.
Should we move on since we've had a big
Yes.
beefy intro here?
Let's move on.
Okay, that sounds good.
Hello, boys and girls. It's time for straight-to-video Russian roulette.
We're going to show you wallflowers, the perks of real flowers.
Watch out, watch out.
Wayne, you're going the wrong way.
You want to go? Because we can go right now.
This message is transmitted at the request of the United States Office of Civil Defense. We are under siege by a chemical attack.
How bad is it? It's not that bad.
Follow the heroes, not the zero. Keep up. Ooh, wait, keep up.
We need to find weapons.
If you get us killed, I'm gonna be so pissed.
What do you suggest we do?
I say we draw them to one side of the building and then slip through the other.
I'm a D&D level 20 raw wizard. How to protect us?
What is it with you shut-ins and your zombie fantasies? We're not in a goddamn comic book, okay?
Whoa! Watch the Dolces.
Is he dead? Of course he's dead, Ryan. He just fell off the freaking roof.
What we need is fire.
Really, dude?
Pick up the devil. Get on my level. Who do you run with? Venom in your vessels. Fire raging rebel. Do you have a death wish? Do you have a death wish?
Is it that bad? More like badass.
I like the danger. Watch out, watch out.
So that actually looked pretty fun to me.
Yeah. I'm going to keep this review shirt and SWAT.
Short and squat.
Shirt and sweat. It was Unhuman is a recommend for me. I hold on, let me see if I can get my
Kika eat.
trying to
Kika
get
eat that.
but
Kiki.
Unhuman. It's a zombie movie ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try not to spoil too much. It is not a perfect movie. I had some things that I feel like some critiques, but it was surprising. And I was engaged. It was scary. It was intense. The acting was good. The soundtrack was great. So what you start with is what looks like I thought I wasn't going to like it for the first few minutes. You get a very almost like ridiculously stereotypical teen high school, like, oh, we're the popular kids and we're being mean to the nerd and this girl. Like it's almost like, oh my God, this is like so basic. But then it's sort of cartoony. So you realize in a couple minutes you're in a cartoon world ish. It's a very heightened, colorful reality, a lot of quick camera movements and characters that are over the top. So what sold me was, I will spoil this. There's a scene at the beginning where a car full of popular kids pulls up to a few kids, one of whom is trying to transition into being one of the popular kids. And she's hanging out with her friend who is just sort of a neutral kid. And they are talking to a nerd kid, and the bullies, they're the popular kids, pull up and they throw a water balloon at the nerd kid. And you're like, oh yeah, that's something that happens still. And the bully says, oops, I didn't mean to do that. And the nerd kid says, what did you mean? And he was like, I was aiming for your head. And that actually made me laugh. And I was like, that's pretty good. It was the way the kid said it too. And they pulled away. I was like, all right, I kind of get this. And then they're going on a field trip for the day. And as you meet the characters, and they're all extremely over the top. But it's working. And then on the bus trip is when all hell kind of breaks loose. And as in the trailer, you hear this message that it's the national shit's going to go down.
The emergency broadcast.
The national shit's going to go down, council.
I wish.
And
I'd work there.
And then you get this sort of zombie plot, and they end up kind of taking refuge in this. I'm wondering if this building is actually a real place, then they used it because it was such a cool looking place. But it's this big.
The kitty's eating, if anybody's worried. The kitty
she
is eating.
Yes. Thank you,
You're
kitty.
welcome.
Amy said that she can see Kelly's cat.
I can see his cat. And also I was invested.
I'm glad that the story resolved for you.
Yeah.
So there's this cool kind of like place where they say like the crackheads hang out, and it's this big Candyman looking place in the woods, which isn't like Candyman at all because that's in the city. But the building itself it's this big warehousey multi-level thing.
Cabrini Green in the forest.
In the woods. And I mean, they're not deep in the woods or anything. They're right off the highway, but
he's like, so it's not even the woods really.
It's woodsy.
Hey, the woods have to start somewhere, and if that's right by a highway, it's still the woods.
It's still the woods, but it's just not deep in the woods.
Right.
And it's like got faces and shit, like huge graffiti painted faces and shit like that. So it's a cool location, and they go to hide out there. And the girl who is friends with the other girl who's trying to become popular is our main character. Her name is Ever. And she's confused. And so you get your one layer of acting and character, which is the cartoony, I'm this kid, I'm this kid, I'm this kid, I'm this kid archetypes. But then you also start to get under the cartooniness. They actually do a pretty good job of giving you bits of character interaction that make them a little bit more human while existing in this hyper real world. This movie is very 90s. This reminds me of an MTV Films movie, like an Election or a
Idle Hands,
Napoleon Dynamite, or more like that, honestly. Much more like that, but better.
More like which thing?
Idle Hands.
Napoleon Dynamite?
More like Idle Hands.
More like Idle Hands. Oh, okay, I gotcha.
But better, I think. Honestly, I don't know that I ever saw Idle Hands.
It's a good time. It's a good time. You should watch.
But it didn't look good to me, and which is why I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Well, you just said it's like that.
But
better.
Kelly gets it from the trailer. He can tell.
I remember the trailer. I remember Idle Hands coming out. We talked about it. I saw I saw plenty of stuff about it. This is listeners. You know this about me. I feel like I can get the gist of a movie from the sort of not always.
Unsane.
Sometimes I'm wrong.
You were wrong about Unsane. We were just we don't know.
I was possibly wrong.
But based on what you thought it was and what it actually is, you were very wrong.
But often
you're right.
But often you're right.
But often I'm right. For me. But so this is going and it's doing its thing. The tone when the zombies really show up, the tone shifts a little bit from this kind of goofy day glow. I mean, it's still that, but it really goes into hard, violent, scary, like action mode. And in a tight, cramped space, because there's a lot of like claustrophobic hallways and rooms in this building. And then they play with the tropes of, nerds v bullies and heroes v villains. And then there's twist, which I also think they do a good job of subtly, I don't know if it's subtle, but they telegraph it in a pretty good way, I thought. Again, I don't know if I go so far as to say it's subtle, but if you're not if you're not, it can definitely go under your notice. I didn't really realize what the twist was after the twist. Then I was like, oh, I see where they were kind of letting us know. And the twist is okay. I don't hate it. But now here's where the flaw comes in. And this is a recommend. And this doesn't ruin it for me. First of all, this movie ends up going a little too long. It's not a long movie, but the way it's shot and the way it's set up, this should not... I feel like it ended like 2 or 3 times. Like it should have ended before it actually ends. And so at this sort of third act after the twist, it starts to kind of do this weird Ernest speechifying to, I think, give these characters depth. And I don't know. I have to look up. I haven't looked up anything about the filmmakers, but what it felt like a little bit to me was sort of a lack of confidence in the audience to pick up on the depth without speechifying about, like, there's this long voiceover at the end from the main character Everett, and it's so and I keep waiting for it to be ironic because it's so earnest. I'm like, oh, this has got to be leading to, but it wasn't. And it was all about high school and like, how this is an allegory for high school. And there are lines that you've heard a million times from Degrassi and Buffy and shit like that, about surviving high school. And I felt like they actually had already done a good job giving depth to characters where you didn't expect to see it and creating connections, showing that, and giving it to you through like interpersonal dialogue without having to then spell it way out as the movie is winding down. So I feel like that detracted a little bit from the strength of it. I think it would have been much stronger and some shorter, which would have just added to its being stronger, if they had completely taken all of that out. Like that whole end speech and voiceover, if they had taken that out, I would have rated this movie higher. It's still good. I really liked it. I thought about it throughout the day today, here and there, and there's a lot of comic book panels. It's so 90s. It feels so super duper 90s. What was that? Freaked. Reminds me a little bit of Freaked, but not that over the top.
Okay.
But that kind of camera work a little bit, the very over the top characters, Actually, yeah, it reminds me quite a bit of Freaked, but stronger. I mean, the character. Well, I liked Freaked, but I just wish they left out the high school is like hell. And I'm kind of like, who is this made for? I guess teenagers, because it seems a little beyond what. I mean, and I'm not judging you teenagers or saying that you don't get things. That's not what I'm saying, but I am saying that usually movies that are aimed at teenagers are dumber than this. Because I didn't think of it as dumb. I did it the first, and then I realized what they were doing. And then I was like, oh, this is smarter than I gave it credit for. And then they dumb it way back down and try really hard to inject this heart into it that they already had put in there. But it just felt like they didn't trust you to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like to someone like our age, unless you really think about high school a lot, and I know some of us do, I don't. I don't have any thoughts or feelings about what happened in high school. I mean, I have thoughts and feelings, but like it's not a part of my thing. You know what I mean? I don't think about it. Like, remember in high school when that guy was an asshole. What is this? Is this review going on too long?
No, it just.
Am I Fred Armisoning?
It's the way you're like, you are kind of like qualifying everything after you say
you
it.
have
You're
to
like,
justify everything you say.
You know the thing about
it's like,
you,
babe,
the thing about your.
you're
Well, I'm doing. I'm trying to illustrate what this movie did.
Baby. You say your ting. Your ting is your ting, and we respect
And
it.
before you're like, it was subtle, but then when I think about it, it wasn't subtle. And it's
You're Fred Armising a little bit.
It's like it's talking down to you, but it's not.
I want to show you what the movie does. But anyway, that's a lie. I just am rambling. But overall, this is I think this is a good, really fun movie. Really, like I said, the action is very scary and very intense, and you actually like the characters you hate the characters you like, and the cast is really good. Everybody does their thing surprisingly well. So this was a movie I was pleasantly surprised by, and if you like kooky zombie teenager movies, this is a good one. It's on Prime.
Unhuman.
I think
Onion Man.
I think we're in the 90s nostalgia era now, right? Of movies.
Oh, definitely.
We've moved on from the 80s. Now everybody's doing 90s stuff.
I feel like this definitely has a crazy 90s feel to it.
I was watching The Midnight Club on Netflix, the Mike Flanagan, Christopher Pike show. Which some people told me they didn't like because it's kids in hospice, which is a bummer from Go, right? But it's really good. I haven't finished the first episode yet. I just kind of popped it on to see what it was like. But that's 90s. That's why I brought it up. Sorry, Andy. It's also 90s. Everything is very like mid 90s.
Well, you think about
Yellow Jackets.
People that grew up with the 90s movies are at the age now where they're making movies.
Yeah, it's a cycle. Yeah. It's so predictable the way this happens.
So I can't wait for the 2000s movies.
Oh, they're going to be so boring.
Ugh.
So overwrought.
Okay. For next week, the movie for Roulette will be Leave.
Okay, bye.
Leave.
Bye.
Make like a tree.
It's on Shudder. A young woman tries to find her origins after having been abandoned as an infant at a cemetery wrapped in a cloth with satanic symbols. But as she gets closer to answers, a malevolent spirit is telling her to leave. That's on Shudder.
See, and it will be. Ta-da.
She's not going to be here.
I'm not going to be here next week, baby.
Oh,
I have a waterfall to visit.
Well, who's the arrow closest to?
Andy.
Do you want me to take the bullet then?
Andy's taking my bullet. No, it's not bullets. It's
All right,
Jack and
Andy.
Marks.
Am I taking the jack for
You're
you?
taking the Jack.
You're off
take
the hook
that,
next
Jack.
time, Andy.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, because I'm going to be off the hook because
Switch it.
You're taking hers. Yeah,
She's watching
yeah.
it.
That's
You
right.
see him?
Amy will be the fall. Yeah.
I just
Feel it.
Just feel it. Leave.
Lee! All right.
It's Norwegian.
Get out of here. Ooh, that's my second Norwegian movie this cycle.
That's fucking
weird.
crazy.
All right.
Norwegian.
We'll be right back.
I would.
Vidge.
is the one and only friend Leon's ever had. The only one who doesn't care that Leon's different.
God, it must be crazy to be here tonight. I defended you. Boy, was I dumb.
You never had secrets from each other.
Only Pin knows Leon's darkest secret.
Leon?
Hello, Marshall.
Oh my God.
When someone hurts Leon, Pin hurts them. When someone tries to come between them, Pin won't let them.
I don't think Aunt Dorothy will be staying with us for very long.
What do you mean?
Might take her a little while to feel the vibrations, but I think she will.
If you want to get closer to Leon, you'll have to take care of Pin before Pin takes care of you. Is Pin a friend?
Oh, please.
Or an enemy? Only Leon knows.
What have you done? What have you done?
What am I gonna do?
Pin. Some friendships die hard.
I guess what I'm saying is Pin and Leon. If you don't like Pin at his worst, you don't deserve Leon at his best. That's what I think I'm getting at.
All right. Would you rather kill somebody because of your own paranoid delusions or have sex with Pin like that nurse did?
She seemed to be enjoying herself.
I'd rather have sex with Pin.
I don't want to kill anybody.
I mean, she chose to do it. She wanted to get off.
Pin is, as Data said, fully functional.
This is written and directed by...
At least he's got a sculpted penis on him.
You're right.
A molded plastic
correct.
penis.
This is directed by... This sounds like either a Star Trek or Star Wars character, the writer-director, Sandor Stern.
It's like Howard Stern in the 24th century.
Yeah. Based on the novel by Andrew Niederman.
Oh, I didn't know there was a novel.
This dude was a ghostwriter for V.C. Andrews, and it shows.
It does show. Yeah. This is one of those Canucksploitation movies, and it reminded me so much of The Pit, which we did last year, except better, honestly, like a more believable movie.
I felt that was a little more campy. This took it serious.
It's more mature.
Yeah. Surprisingly, because when I started it
could have gone campy real easily, but they didn't.
Real easily. I expected it to.
I still think it went in a good way.
But it could have pushed it further. This movie reminded me so much of like Ari Aster's work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
It's just the mood he builds that both movies build. It's like this almost oppressive feeling, a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, even before Pin is really even a problem. Really, you're kind of anxious about Terry O'Quinn's character. He's this doctor, like small town doctor.
It's great at building a mood. The whole movie I felt very unsettled.
But don't you feel like you feel that pressure of this perfectionist dad before you're ever worried about Pin?
That's one of the great things about it is like, again, I feel like this movie, well, again, I haven't said it yet, but this movie does such a good job of giving you all of the character, like you're seeing all these interactions early on, like the kids, you see Leon and his sister as little kids and you see their relationship. You see the way Terry O'Quinn's doctor father, who is clearly a weirdo, you don't know to what extent, but like he's not murdering people. He's not that kind of weirdo.
And he's not really
mildly abusive to his children.
He's emotionally abusive.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the high pressure parent. He's like that I can't. What's a
tiger mom?
Like a tiger mom. I don't think you're supposed to say that anymore. It's racist.
And the mom is also
I don't know why
like
that struck me as so funny.
Yeah.
And when you discover later on, when they like come out and say what Leon's problem is, it made me want, like, it was like, oh, is that why he was treated like the shit kid, versus his sister?
What are you referring to specifically?
Him having schizophrenia?
His schizophrenia.
Oh,
yeah,
did they already
his mental
know?
illness.
Did they know he was schizophrenic?
I don't know that you show
that doesn't present
symptoms
till you're an
until
adult.
No, I think it was the dad has
You're an
suspicions
adolescent.
about it. But then when
do you want to know why he does? Because I think he has the same thing.
when Leon was when he caught Leon talking to Pin, that's when he's like, it clicked for him.
Yeah.
That I need to get rid of Pin.
Now, is it schizophrenia or is it like a multiple personality disorder? There's a different thing.
I think
it's just the way.
Well, they said it was paranoid schizophrenia. The sister made it sound like he'd been diagnosed.
So, by the way, age 7 Leon, the littlest boy Leon, that's Jacob Tierney, who created Letterkenny and who plays the preacher on Letterkenny. So I think that's like a really fun fact.
A lot of people
in
this movie went on to do like big thing, like had solid careers.
Oh yeah, the one who plays the adult Leon, David Hewlett, he's been all over TV
and
and
the
movies.
Older sister
He's in The Shape
does
of
a lot
Water.
of stuff too.
Yeah.
And the one dude was on the X-Files. And many other things, but on the X-Files.
That makes sense because wasn't X-Files filmed in Canada?
Yep.
You talking about the boyfriend?
Toronto.
Stan.
So my theory is that the father also had some form of unhealthy attachment to Pin, the anatomical dummy with the real penis. Not real, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, a penis.
Did you wonder how big it was?
I wanted to see it, and why is this nurse doing this? People have been touching it all day. I didn't see her put alcohol on it.
Well, that's probably why. It's an aberrant,
Part of it.
It's part of it. Okay. But no, I was just thinking that
has to be dirty for her to really enjoy it.
if it's not paranoid schizophrenia, it's something, and he's managing himself, but he's not well because he's in such control. He's controlling everybody around him. Oh, wow. I didn't realize I had such deep thoughts about this.
His mom was the same.
The mom is a germaphobe. And what do we know about serial killers and people who commit sexual murders?
Their moms were
women?
germophobic?
Their parents, it starts at home.
It starts at home. And I do agree. Like, they give you just enough to suggest a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And like you do, like, I think they do a great job of making you think that the father is going to be like a traditional villain. Really what's great is when he realizes that Leon really believes in Pin, and you also get the sense that he's already a little uncomfortable because do you mind if I just break down the dad Pin Leon character?
Yeah, there was a moment where he was like trying to send Leon away to go do different college so he can get away from that weird attachment to his sister. So I think that was deliberate because that the dad was onto something that Leon's not all right
because he went through some of it.
Right, and exactly. And so he is this small town doctor, and Leon and his sister are his children. And he has this incredibly weird, detailed anatomical thing that he uses to teach anatomy. And with his kids, he's very dry and just, this is what this is. But what he does, he starts off, I think it's hinted, when they're young, he fucking is a good ventriloquist, and he throws his voice and makes
Kelley.
it sound like,
Real quick, did you know that's Jonathan Banks's voice? The guy who played Mike on Breaking Bad, and
really?
Yeah, he played. You'll know him from all kinds of
He's on
stuff.
Sequest.
Yeah, I know Mike.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But I thought that was a neat little tidbit too.
That is, I did not realize, obviously, because I'm so surprised right now. But he throws his voice to teach the kids through Pin talking. And of course, they both, when they're young, believe it, like Santa Claus. But the girl, the sister, who does not seem to have any sort of issues, she clocks it pretty early on. She looks at her dad. She looks at Pin. She's like, oh, okay. I get what's going on. But Leon never does.
Nope.
Ever. And creates this character and this relationship with this thing. And as time goes on, and then, of course, a fixation on his sister, I think he was... well, anyway... So I think it's cool how they kind of give you a little by little how it even makes the dad uncomfortable. Like you almost think at some point he's like, I wish I hadn't started that. Like, you know.
Yeah, I get that.
It's just good. It's much better than I thought it was going to be before. You know, I thought it was going to be a lot campier and goofier. And it's actually got a lot of depth and layers.
There's more layers because I felt for... I know Leon's a villain, but I understand. I still felt for him.
No, he was given a shit hand.
He had no chance.
He was given parents that just weren't going to raise him to be normal. And he was also dealt a shit genetic thing in the schizophrenia. So like...
And he had to witness the nurse and Pin... Which I think also contributed, obviously.
That would scar me for life.
Because imagine, you still don't understand sex, yet you're seeing what is a skinless, ostensibly a skinless.
Just think like creature the uncle from
that you think gives you gifts.
Yeah. And I also think, I mean, I know that this wasn't necessarily a huge thing at the time, but I also think it's implied that he's kind of asexual and thinks it's wrong and is continuously trying to discover sexual feelings because his dad tells him you have that feeling if you're normal, because that's another thing. Like he gets these things reinforced to him that he's not normal and that having sexual feelings, if you don't have them, you're not normal.
And the sister, Ursula, she has them. She's precocious. Everything comes early for her. And like, do you think maybe he's also like jealous of her more so than he is not just like fixated on her, but kind of jealous that she has feelings?
Jealous of her. Like he's like, why does it work for her and I don't get this?
Well, and just the way that the dad was describing the sexual feelings, it was just so clinical and cold.
So
what
clinical.
Was it called? What did they call it? The
urge or something.
Yeah. The feeling.
The feeling.
Yeah. But just the way that he was talking, it was when you have that talk with like your parents, they're supposed to be like very understanding and empathetic, but the way he talked about it, it was just so like
dry, clinical.
Through Pin though, you mean? But Pin also feels almost like an android from Star Trek. Like, I feel like part of the character that he created to teach his kids is this cold, detached android style personality.
Well, he's the dad's absolving any responsibility with these conversations.
I think Pin becomes sort of more parental to them. Pin gives them presents. Pin gives them advice. Pin gives them...
He corrects them.
The stuff through their dad. They don't even think their dad's doing any of that.
Yeah, it is like a way for him to connect with them when he can't really do it face to face.
Man, though, the first time you see Pin, phew-wee. That's
it's fucked up.
Creepy.
My favorite.
It's the creepiest thing in the world.
When he shifts in the back seat and sits up.
Oh my God.
The blanket. Oh yeah. Those moments where, well, there's a couple of really, for me, what are like the peak moments in the movie visually, and one is that when Terry O'Quinn's driving like a fucking asshole. It was like some of the worst like movie driving ever. You're like, they're gonna die, obviously.
Well, this is like the kind of this is where they went little campy.
Yeah.
It was
this
really
whole
like,
scene,
like Toonses or something.
Yeah, the squealing all over the road because he's late to a luncheon where he has to give
He
talk.
runs out of his office with Pin because he realizes kid's talking to him.
Yeah, he caught Leon talking to Pin in the office.
He shoves him in the car, and the wife's like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" He's like, "We gotta go," and he's like going like nuts around these hairpin turns, and she's like, "What? Stop!" Nagging.
And of course, the road that they're driving on is under construction.
Yes.
So
and it's the twistiest road in all of Canada.
Yeah.
But what's so great about it is a very campy scene, goofy shot Very, very like Bob Clark when he decides to go goofy. But what's also really great about it is Terry O'Quinn's act. You can see on his face the wheels turning, and he's like, "Oh my God, what have I done? I got to get fucking rid of this thing." And at this point, the kids are older. You know, they're in high school. And don't forget the abortion.
Dad giving his own daughter an abortion.
I thought, in a way, I was like
that's a conflict of interest.
I had a real complicated. That whole sequence is like, okay, he's doing the right thing for her as her being like 15-year-old kid.
Yeah. Fucking get the abortion, but does it have to be your dad?
Yeah, then he's like trying to get his son to watch for so he can learn about it. Like
you are turning this child into a fucking BTK. Stop it.
It was just a really weird, loaded scene because it was dealing with like 8 different fucking ideas all at once, and they were not angling for anything. They're just like, no, this is what happens in the story. Deal with it.
Yeah, it really gives you a lot of layers, and of course, in just Leon, like as these things are happening, you're meeting kind of teenage/adult Leon as he gets older, and he's already fucked up and telling his sister what's it like. It's such an interesting relationship to see how she cares so much about him that she kind of works around what she knows is his issues. I feel so bad for Leon, like, and we'll get to this scene probably in a minute, but him with his poetry was so heartbreaking. And it was like they did such a good job of giving you this goofy thing almost that you would normally just laugh at. And it was like so tense because you knew what was going to happen as soon as he opened his mouth and started talking about his hero testes, and
whose fathered like 170 babies throughout that world.
But we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, there was like he is I guess technically the villain, but this is almost like not that kind of movie. It really is an exploration.
It's a lot like Psycho.
There's no real villain because just like Psycho, you can see the ingredients all around.
Yeah,
like you can't even be mad that what came out of the oven was this.
Yeah, you really feel for him.
Yeah, I felt so bad for Ursula too.
Oh yeah.
I'm so glad she lived. Yeah. I was going to be so pissed if the boyfriend was really dead. I was going to be mad because I liked him. He was nice.
Yeah. He turns out to be a good person. He comes back.
Yeah. Ursula's so conflicted about protecting her brother but also wanted to grow up and do her own thing too. And it felt like she's trapped. Mm-hmm. And it is so heartbreaking for her.
You know, it just occurred to me, the opening of this movie, I don't know why it just occurred to me, but the second, we were talking about all leading up. Then once the parents have died and everything goes off the rails, but like when she comes home and he has given Pin skin, and he's dressed him at in the father's clothes,
the dead father's clothes, and he's got hair, and skin.
That moment, that is the one that goes.
It's shocking.
I was like, did Eddie Murphy walk in here playing a white guy? Because that's what that looked like.
That was like Texas Chainsaw stuff right there.
Yeah. Well, but then I was thinking about that scene, right, where she comes home and there's Pin all dressed up with no place to go, and I remembered the opening of this movie, which I kind of had just discounted and forgotten about, where the kids are daring each other to go to the house. Mm-hmm. And they go up to the window and they encounter this character that looks like the dressed up version of Pin. And then at the end of the movie, it's the brother.
Leon.
He's come home. He's living there again. And he's just startled the shit out of this kid.
Well, he is, because he basically he completely dissociates his own personality and just becomes Pin.
Mm-hmm. But what I mean is he's back in the house. Like, didn't they arrest him at the end?
At the window.
No, remember she comes back at the end.
Yeah.
And
I'm forgetting
he was injured in some way. God, why don't I remember?
Well,
he was put away for insane. He was
supposed to be put away at the end, right?
He went to the mental institution, and so then you realize at some point later he returned home.
But I don't know that they addressed it at the end of the movie what you're seeing in the beginning, where it's come full circle. I think he's back home again.
He is at the end.
Home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's home at the end.
Just watch this.
Oh my God, my memory's terrible. I thought he got locked up.
No,
he did go away, but then he was let out.
So we're at Psycho 2 already at the end of
she's
this.
grown at the end. She's got her own kids, I think, at this point.
She's married to that guy, that boyfriend that Leon tried to kill.
Oh my God. I was cooking dinner, I think, was the problem.
And she goes and visits him, and then they leave. And then, he's just basically locked as a shut-in in that room by himself.
He's in the room, okay.
He's pissed.
And
we need a sequel.
I don't know, is it suggested that when she hit him with the axe that caused like him to be paralyzed or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe
so.
One of the great things too about Leon's character and this actor, and again, something that I wouldn't have expected them, like that scene after the parents die and him and Ursula are sitting there at the table, like you see him as a real person. It's like you actually see the Leon that's normal, and they're talking about staying up late and all the foods they can eat. It's like he's like a real person, and then you see the mental illness like creep back on top of him. And it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he almost becomes his dad in a way. He's wearing his clothes and like being overbearing to Ursula.
Yeah.
And just asking her these super like personal questions in such a clinical way. It was that scene where they're like sitting outside and it's the creepiest line I've ever heard, I think. It's like, you haven't baited since the abortion, right? He's asking a bit. She's masturbated.
He said baited?
Yeah.
I thought he said made it.
I thought she said baited. Like,
but you might have
flogged the dolphin.
Like she hasn't touched herself since the abortion.
Oh, I don't remember. Either way,
just the way I heard it.
He asked her creepy things.
I tried to,
but it's creepy either way. Yeah.
You said you didn't make. Get me.
What a creepy,
no, actually, I think you're right.
movie.
I think it was baited. Yeah, and so obviously he keeps trying to he tries to hook up with Ursula's friend, and it just he can't make it.
He can't.
I don't even know that he's in love with Ursula.
Well, it's just the fact that they talk about masturbation and his
poems about raping his sister, right?
Yeah.
Well, he does have a fixation on her, but I think it's so complicated because I think because he doesn't have these feelings or he doesn't know. I think that's why she isn't more bothered by living with him and hearing his, because he writes these crazy epic poems about a Beowulf style hero named Testes who has to spread his progeny across the earth. And he finally gets the point. And this is when he's reading it to her boyfriend, because the boyfriend is trying to connect with him. He's a very decent person. And so they convince him that it's okay to share his poetry, which he doesn't. And he wants this guy to like it. It was so heartbreaking. And so he starts reading this shit. And I laughed because it is funny. As soon as he named the hero Testes, but then it's like, oh, Jesus, this dude is like really in the weeds. And
effulgent.
There's a whole thing about Testes is considering raping his sister. And the guy is like, do you not see what's happening? And I think for her, it's like, he doesn't actually do that. Like, I don't think she was ever worried he was going to do that to her, because I think she knew maybe he couldn't physically, you know what I mean? He might even have had.
She's in the weeds in that situation too. She didn't have a very good upbringing either. So her perspective is skewed too. So she's not going to understand that that's weird.
Well, that's why, she doesn't give them help. She doesn't try anything. I don't think she was given a lot of tools, and she has no self-esteem.
And she does think it's weird. I think she does, but it's just like, well, but that's my brother. What am I supposed to do? I love him.
But this is my family, and we've always been together, and we protect each other. And I can't even conceive of a way where somebody could help me. I can't lock him up. He would be so miserable. And it's like, well, you got your friend Marcia killed.
It's a good way. It shows the consequences too of inaction.
Did she die? She got away.
I thought he killed Marcia.
No, he scared her out of the house.
He was chasing her around.
I thought he went back and got her. I don't know why I thought that.
So only 2 people die in this movie, right? The parents?
The parents and the aunt.
Oh, the aunt died. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she had harem scarum where all of her hair fell out.
Well, why did I think he had killed her? Anyway,
he did kill the ant. He scared the ant to death, basically. So
Yeah.
I like that part.
That was a good part.
Like,
there's no way that left unchecked, he wasn't about to go ham on the sex worker population of whatever the nearest city was. And you can't convince me otherwise.
No, I think you're right. I think he was definitely headed in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Pin,
man.
It's really good.
Great movie.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you, Kelley, for bringing it up a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it. I was not there when Patrick was recommending this.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And well, again, it was really a double. Like I said, you guys, he had recommended to you way back in the day, and then when everybody was posting those Barbie profile pictures, he posted a picture of Pin, and then Alise asked him because she thought she recognized it from something. She was like, "What movie is that from?" And so he messaged us, and we watched it right away, and we're like really pleasantly surprised and blown away. Really good. And again, like The Pit, which I compare it to, it's surprisingly good. It is much campier and more fantastical, but very similar themes, and also surprisingly well done for the themes of that movie.
Another interesting thing, Sandor Stern, who wrote and directed this, wrote the Amityville Horror, I don't know what portion of that screenplay at what point, but he was one of the writers on that.
This
Horror
movie,
trivia.
Pin, was better than it had any right to be.
Agreed. Good job, makers of Pin.
Nicely done, Canada. When I'm in you soon, I will let you know then too. I'll just shout it into the Niagara Falls.
When Amy is inside of you,
Although
she will shout that.
I know that movie people in the 80s looked older than they are, but the fact that they try to play her off as 15.
I know. It was insulting. Yeah. Alrighty. Let's do the thing we do at the end of every show.
Let's pin these names to the top of the post.
To the top of our hearts post. These are our Beelzebubs. We say hi to them every show. Patreon.com/NOTLP if you're interested. Alise.
My love.
Alyssa. Branan and Emily. Why am I saying it like this?
It's fun.
Jeffel. Iona Goodwin.
I own a great one.
Dr. Brian. Bill. We already said hi to you earlier. But like hi again.
He gets to be the killer first next time, remember?
He has to be the killer next time, yeah. Bill Farner. Frosted Blakes. Blayne Yogurt. Jordache Jeans. We got to see Joe. Been a while since we had seen him on the meetup. Paul. Jeremy. Cassie. Gamora.
Thank you, Gamora.
Ernie. Dave Siebert. And Monica.
Thank you all very, very much.
Yeah, boy. Good times.
Great country.
So do we know what's next? Who the next Scream King is?
Yeah, who's the next one?
I had put out there that Justin Long and you guys could do Barbarian.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
Which is a great movie.
I've seen that movie.
Yeah. Didn't we kind of talk about it, though?
Well, then do whatever you...
Can we
Then
reconvene?
why'd you ask me? Why'd you even...
I didn't.
Did we?
Did we what?
Talk about it like on the
we
show.
talked about that movie.
This,
Did we not talk about it on the show?
Like, we wouldn't have spoiled. This would be a spoiler filled. We would talk about it in depth.
All right.
If you're into it.
We'll talk about it after the show.
I
We'll
don't
throw
give
some
a
text
fuck.
back and forth.
I swear to God.
I just feel like we covered this in some way.
Thank you so much for listening.
We might have mentioned it. We definitely didn't cover it.
No.
Just a mention?
I think we just mentioned it.
All right. I'm going to trust you then.
You don't have to. You can send text back and forth.
It'll just be like, I don't know.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
My God.
Frankenstein was wondering if he should go to bed when his old buddy Leatherface put on Dawn of the Dead. And Igor made of London.